Before anyone becomes Secretary of Defense, a team of people is supposed to dig up every problem in their past, the lawsuits, the settlements, the things that could blow up later, and hand it to the president before he picks them. That's the entire point of vetting. So this hearing isn't really about a 9-year-old incident. It's about a much simpler, much harder question that Senator Tim Kaine keeps circling back to. When there was a police complaint, a cash settlement, and a confidentiality agreement in your past, did you tell the people vetting you, or did you keep it to yourself? That's the part that matters, and it's the part we're going to stay on. A necessary note first, because we're going to be careful and fair. The 2017 incident in Monterey involved an allegation of sexual assault. Pete Hegseth says it was false, that he was, his words, fully investigated and completely cleared, and no criminal charges were ever filed. He says the encounter was consensual. We are not here to relitigate that, and we won't. What is not in dispute, what he acknowledges, is that the matter produced a police complaint, a private financial settlement, and a non-disclosure agreement. Hold that distinction the whole way through. The allegation is unproven and denied. The settlement and the NDA are documented. Kaine starts on the word Hegseth keeps using.
Senator, I was falsely charged, fully investigated, and completely cleared.
So you think you are completely cleared because you committed no crime? That's your definition of cleared?
This is a sharper point than it sounds. No charges were filed is true, and it genuinely matters. It's the strongest thing in Hegseth's favor, and we state it plainly. But Kaine's move is to separate two ideas that people often blur. Not criminally charged is not the same as nothing happened here worth disclosing. You can be cleared of a crime and still have a paper trail, a complaint, a settlement, an NDA that a president would obviously want to know about before handing you the Pentagon, and that paper trail is where this goes next. Along the way, Kaine also nails down something Hegseth doesn't deny at all.
Assume that in each of your weddings you've pledged to be faithful to your wife. You've taken an oath to do that, haven't you?
Senator, as I've acknowledged to everyone in this committee, I'm not a perfect person, not claiming to be.
But no, I just asked a simple question. You've taken an oath like you would take an oath to be Secretary of Defense in all of your weddings to be faithful to your wife. Is that correct?
I have failed in things in my life, and thankfully I'm redeemed by my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Notice what just happened and why it's fair game. This isn't an accusation Kaine is trying to prove. It's something Hegseth admits. He acknowledges the infidelity. And Kaine's reason for raising it isn't gossip. It's a judgment and honesty argument. A man asking the Senate to trust him with the most powerful military on earth is being asked whether he keeps the oaths he takes. Fair or not as a standard, it's a legitimate question, and Hegseth's answer, "I'm not a perfect person," concedes the fact. But all of that is prologue to the one exchange that actually goes to the job. The settlement, the NDA, and the vetting.
The incident in Monterey led to a criminal charge, a criminal investigation, a private settlement, and a cash payment to the woman who filed the complaint. And there was also a non-disclosure agreement, correct?
It was a confidential settlement agreement off of a nuisance lawsuit.
Right. During an interview, you claimed that you settled the matter because you were worried that if it became public, it might hurt your career. Do you maintain that you were blackmailed?
Senator, I maintain that false claims were made against me. And ultimately,
your attorney
those
used
false
the
claims,
frame.
I have the opportunity to attest my innocence in those false claims.
But you didn't reveal any of this to President Trump or the transition team as they were considering you to be nominated for Secretary of Defense. You didn't reveal the action. You didn't reveal the criminal complaint. You didn't reveal the criminal investigation. You didn't reveal the settlement. You didn't reveal the cash payment. Why didn't you inform the commander-in-chief and the transition team of this very relevant event?
This is the whole video, right here. Strip away everything else, and it comes down to one clean documented fact and one dodge. The fact: there was a complaint, a settlement, a cash payment, and an NDA. Kaine lists them one by one, and Hegseth doesn't deny they exist. He reframes the settlement as a nuisance lawsuit, which is a real thing people do to avoid publicity, and worth noting in his defense. But then the key question: did you tell Trump's transition team any of this before they nominated you? And listen to the answer. Hegseth doesn't say, "Yes, I disclosed it." He pivots to how much he appreciated the process and the transition team. That's not a denial. That's the sound of a question being walked around, which is exactly why this is a vetting story, not a tabloid one. The issue isn't what happened in 2017. It's whether the president got the full picture before he chose his Secretary of Defense, or whether, as Kaine puts it, Hegseth stayed quiet because candor might have cost him the job. Now, to be scrupulously fair, because this is where a decode earns its trust. Hegseth's case is real, and we've kept it front and center. No criminal charges, an outcome he calls a full clearing, a consensual encounter by his account, and a settlement he characterizes as buying off a nuisance suit. A settlement is not a confession. Plenty of innocent people settle to make a headache disappear. And Kaine raised other allegations in that hearing too, about his drinking, his conduct at veterans non-profits, all of which Hegseth denied as false, and, he argued, anonymous. We're deliberately not relitigating those, because the cleanest point doesn't need them. It's this. A man was nominated to run the Pentagon, there was a documented complaint and settlement in his past, and when asked point blank whether he disclosed it to the people vetting him, he wouldn't say yes. Whatever you believe about 2017, that question, did the president know, is a fair one to ask about anyone handed that much power. And on that question, the answer he gave was to change the subject.